Welcome to another episode of the Man Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Batista. I'll be joined today by my buddy, Sean O'Rourke, who will also be hosting the show, as well as our special guest, Doug Zapf. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. Don't forget, like and subscribe, share. Again, just really trying to build our platform, and thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's pretty late there right now, huh?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said it's pretty late there right now, huh?
Yeah, it's 9:10 over here.
Yeah. What's your bedtime normally?
Honestly, probably like 10:30, 11.
Okay. Well, we'll try not to keep you up too long, man. But dude, I've honestly I've been a fan, probably especially this last season. Just I think just the way that you wrestle, you just wrestle hard, and you're just a gamer, dude. So I saw you're doing a shirt right now. What's
Yeah,
what's that been like?
it's sick. Chain Wrestling reached out to me probably like June or July, and they did all the work. They created a logo for me, they created a design, and I was basically just saying, yeah, that looks awesome a couple of times. And they created a shirt, and it's cool to see the support system I have. A lot of friends wearing my shirts or in that aspect of things. It was cool. Like today I went into practice and Rich Perry's wearing one of my shirts, and I'm like, that's awesome. So it's definitely it's been a cool experience to see all the people that I have behind me.
Yeah, I feel like especially Pennsylvania, like it's a rich wrestling state. I guess do you know, like, was that just like a random, like they just DM'd you and were like, hey, we want to make a shirt? Or was it something that like you knew the people behind it or what?
No. So I knew, are you familiar with Richard Perry?
Yeah, I don't know if this is appropriate, but he's the guy that got hit in the car accident, right? And it kind of went
Yeah.
through.
Yes.
I don't know if there was another way to say it, but
No. Yeah, he was involved in a tragic accident at a USA national team camp, and he basically long story short was he's been involved with that company, and they made him gear, and I'm very close with him and his family. So they basically put the word in for me, and I started winning some tournaments. So I started building my brand a little bit, and they reached out to me after I won U23s in June.
awesome.
U23 Nationals, and then it basically just got the ball rolling, and after 2 months they got a design on the shirt, and now they got my merch live, so it's sick.
We find that in your bio, right? They'll take care
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah, they
Yeah,
did a great job.
yeah, I saw it, but I'm not gonna lie, I still need to get one.
I appreciate that. Yeah, when they showed, like, the first time I saw like the store of like all the stuff they had, I was just impressed. Like they had hats, stickers, like tags. Like I was like, I didn't even know any about, like, I thought it was just gonna be like a shirt on a website. That's about it. They did awesome.
Now you don't have to tell us, but like, do you get like a percentage of the shirts that are sold, or is it something like an upfront thing, or how does that work?
No, I get a percentage from it. I didn't get like an upfront fee or like a signing bonus or whatever.
Yeah.
I wasn't really familiar with like how merch really worked and like the percentages and if it's a good deal or not. I was just kind of hyped about a company reaching out, but yeah, I get a percentage of like the shirts being sold off the
Dude,
value.
NIL is weird right now, man. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. But yours. I mean, you just finished. That was your last year of eligibility last year, right?
Yeah, I
So
used all my 4 years. With COVID, it was a little weird, so basically had uh 3 NCAA tournaments in a sense because the Ivies got the short end of the stick with COVID. So yeah, I graduated this past May.
what was the training like, I guess, during COVID? Because obviously, you guys couldn't practice, I guess, with the team, right? I'm not sure exactly the rules on that, but I'm sure it's similar with all the Ivies. So were you just trying to do freestyle, or what was the move there?
It was a disaster with just like COVID and how the Ivies, I won't put my personal take on it, but how it was just handled. But we couldn't work out of the Penn wrestling room. All Penn facilities were closed. So the PRTC really came in hand. We found a way. We're located in Philly, so we drove basically 20 minutes every day to this place called Underground Wrestling Club, 20 minutes from Philly, and we worked out of there the entire year. So it was basically freestyle focused because Coach Slay, the Penn coaches were heavily involved with it too. But I look back at that time and like we really like all of our team, like no one was required to be on campus, but we still had nearly every one of our guys when our season was canceled. Like our practices in this place in New Jersey was basically like a team practice. Like everyone still came together, and I think we really made strides as a team that year. And then it showed the following year when we finally had a season. Like we started breaking into national rankings as a team. Had 9 NCAA qualifiers. So I really think that year where we had no season, we made a lot of gains.
That must have been tough. I mean, to wrestle off campus, away from everyone, and then you guys having to sit out as an Ivy League school while everyone else got to compete. I mean, how was that like watching some of those guys who you've beaten, you're scrapping with, you're right there in the national ranks with, they get to go on and still have a season and you guys are at home training?
It was tough, like thinking like, man, like these guys are getting like just another shot at like NCAAs when we can't do anything about it. So that was very frustrating that this was just basically a free year that we couldn't get. During that time I took a gap year. So I was basically unenrolled from school. So I had an internship that I gained a lot of experience from. So I think I gained a lot of ground outside of wrestling in that aspect. But the thing that our coaches really preached to us at that time was, listen, like we can't control what the decision was, but we can control is how we're going to handle this situation, how we can gain ground right now, how we can move forward as a program so that when we do get our season back going into the following year, that we'll be ready and we'll be making gains.
I like that. I like that. Brian and I were college teammates, and our coaches preached control the controllables. Just do what you can. And I try and preach that to the high school kids. And sometimes they get it, sometimes not so much. But I think obviously with maturity, that becomes more of an understanding. I think if I'm not mistaken, Brian, correct me. Is he the first Ivy League representative we've had on the podcast?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, go Ivy.
Touch on that. I mean, obviously academics is the top echelon, right? And as well as balancing being a student athlete, like that's got to be not easy. And then taking a gap year, getting work experience and job experience, all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm interested because I haven't had a kid wrestle for the Ivy Leagues, so I know it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I think maybe like when I came into college, I was thinking I wasn't gonna have a social life. My head was gonna be in the books or in the class or on the wrestling mat. Like I was a little worried in that sense, but I think I found a pretty good balance. I managed my time really well with making sure I got my schoolwork done, got everything I needed to do workout wise in a day, like, and then also like I'd realized, man, I have a lot of time on my hands as well to where I can be a college student, where I can still be social and make friends and be just enjoy the college life in a sense. So I think most of the guys on our team can attest to that as well. But it's definitely a grind. You can't cut corners, as I'm sure as you guys know in wrestling, you can't cut corners or it's going to show. And the same with academics in the Ivy League. Like you can't like just going to class doesn't cut it, or just studying the night before an exam doesn't cut it. Like you gotta be all in all the time.
Yeah, I don't think Sean and I would have made it in Ivy League.
No. I mean,
we're more like I don't think like I mean, I'll speak for myself on this. I'm not a dumb guy. I'm definitely a procrastinator. Wait to the last minute, but I mean that's why I think the Ivy Leagues. I think what people think sometimes is just a bunch of nerds going to school, but it's like no, it's like the most well-rounded, like hardest working people are there. And you're around a bunch of people that are like that.
they're just more disciplined and more willing to, make the sacrifices, but they're still, they're still normal, they still have fun. They still know how to, go out and have a good time.
You'll still get some weird Ivy League kids out there. Not all normal. That's for sure. But I made some of my best friends in college. So I met a lot of like-minded people at this school, and I've thrived in it. But I have never known any better, but I look back at college and like, man, it'd be cool to go to like a huge game day, like
Right.
a huge football game on a Saturday. Just didn't have that aspect, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, we missed out on that too. Brian and I, the Cal State Bakersfield, they didn't have a football team, so we really missed out on college football.
Oh man,
we do have a 3-time Super Bowl winner though.
We do, Stephen
Neal. You know Stephen
yeah,
Neal, right?
yeah, from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you a Pats fan?
No,
Oh,
I'm an Eagles fan.
okay, go Birds. All right.
Hey, go Birds, yes sir.
That's legit. Well, doing some research, just following up on your kind of career. I always loved watching you wrestle. Like Brian said, you get after it, you scrap super hard. Anytime I would watch you wrestle, whether it was, against some of the top guys in the country or not, I always was like, this guy's in it. Like this guy going into a match, I'm like, if on a bracket or something, I was like, Doug could win that. He's scrappy. He could come out on top of any match. Talk about just the hard, constant grind of a D1 season. And, you had what, three cracks at the national tournament?
Yeah, well, so my freshman year, I didn't qualify.
Got canceled.
Then my sophomore year got canceled. So I was at NCAAs twice.
Right. So just talk about how that grind is and your mindset going into matches with some of the best in the country and coming out on top.
Yeah, I'll touch on my junior year. My junior year, I was at 157, and that was I qualified for the NCAA tournament, but I still think I was a little undersized as a 57-pounder. But man, nothing was like that NCAA wrestling experience. Like there, you just can't replicate an atmosphere like that. So that was cool to be a part of. I didn't get what I wanted that year, but it was more of like, all right, like that was my first time there. I'm gonna grow from this. I'm gonna get better from this, and then senior year, I'm gonna get it done on the NCAA stage. So after my junior year, I went to the U.S. Open. I wrestled really well, got third there, and then things were kind of clicking. Wrestled well, beat Sammy Sasso, Anthony Ashton, like had some top-notch wins. So I was like, all right, that was 154. I can lose 5 more pounds to go 149, and that was just tough going into my senior year. Like that's when I really, really felt like the college grind, like going in, cutting a lot of weight to go 149. And then repetitively after each week, it's like you weigh in at 149 on a Friday night, Sunday or Friday, Saturday. And then on a Sunday or Monday, you check your weight and you got to lose 10 to 15 pounds again. And
is that how big you would get between weigh-ins?
I won't lie. Like I would weigh in at 149, and like I'm a very disciplined guy to where like, all right, I'll have a cheat meal, but like the next day, like I'm back on like what I'm eating. Like, I don't want to just go like this in my weight. And that's when like it gets grueling, but there'd be most times I'd weigh 149 and then I felt like I didn't eat much and I'd be in the low 60s. I'm like, oh, I got to do this again. after like the 5th or 6th time, it gets old, but it's just college wrestling.
Did any of your coaches kind of influence you to make that decision to go back down to 49s?
No, really. It was all me. My coaches were just like, listen, we'll let you make this decision on your own. I mean, it was clear that it was going to benefit our team, but for me, I think I would have had like a what if in me if I didn't do it. Like if I went into my senior year at 157, I'd probably today think, man, what if I went 149 and gave myself that opportunity? Like what could have happened? So I don't look back at it with regret, but it was tough. But I knew going in it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
Does Penn have a nutritionist?
Yeah. I got a lot of good information and support from our nutrition team. So that's what I really focused on. Like I was really thinking like I got to do the right things because I don't want my weight to affect me. So I got a lot of good insight from Penn Nutrition. So I'm I was very grateful for that throughout the fall, like just like adjusting my diet in some ways of obviously I have to reduce my calories, but like what do I need to be what foods do I need to be eating at what time of the day?
Yeah. Yeah. Would you do like any kind of like intermittent fasting or anything like that?
So I've never done something like that, but I do hear a lot of good reviews. I don't know if you have you ever done it, but I hear JB talk about it. I hear certain guys talk about like liking doing it, but I've never done it myself.
Sean, have you ever done that stuff?
Yeah, I've done it. I used to do I'm trying to think of the app that I used to have. Gosh, I might have it still, but basically it was a timer app and I would basically fast for 18 hours and then I could eat for 6, right? So,
Like whatever you want for 6.
pretty much like, I mean, I wouldn't go crazy, but I would have my good meals, but I would have a good amount of food in that 6 hours.
Mm.
Um, and then the 18 hours, because I was working a shift like schedule, so it was a little bit different time that I was up. But in my first workout of the day was wrestling practice because I was working nights. So I'd get up at like 2:30, hit practice at 3:30. That was like my first workout. And then my food time was like 6 p.m. till midnight. So I would crush food in that
Wow.
period and then be done after midnight until the next day. And you definitely feel it like your metabolism gets into like it kicks into a new gear and you feel it during your workouts. And it was just really hard for me to do that over and over and over with like a crappy sleep schedule, sleeping during the day.
Yeah.
And all that. But if people can make it work, and that's obviously extreme, like you don't have to do the 18-6. Some people do 12-12 or
Mhm.
15 whatever. So it just depends. But I think it's beneficial. I think maybe I'm sure a lot of guys in college are trying it. If
Yeah,
it works,
sure.
it's kind of just if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
think
said
that's a
that
good way to
JB swears by it.
He doesn't swear by it, but I know he's talked about it before, and I think he likes it, but I didn't talk to him like straight up. I never like asked him if I just kind of hear him over my shoulder talking about it a little bit. I've never tried it. I feel like what Sean said a little bit of like, what works for you. And I think that's kind of with a lot of diets, like certain foods just
Yeah.
benefit me better than others of what I eat in the morning compared to others. So I wouldn't say it's a one size fits all type thing anymore.
When you had a cheat meal opportunity, what was the cheat meal? What were you going for?
Oh, I would love Ben.
I'll share mine after.
Dude, I would crush Ben and Jerry's every time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good
What's your
one.
flavor? What's your flavor?
I loved coffee Buzz.
I don't know if
I
I've
haven't heard
had
of
that
that.
one.
Big coffee guy. You don't like coffee ice cream?
I do. I love coffee ice cream. I don't think I've had that flavor though.
I loved it. Me and
I like the fish food.
everyone would get it.
The fish food is my go-to.
Fish food's good.
That one, I'm a sucker for that one.
I have a American Dream in the freezer right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been on the phase where I've been like crushing pints like at least once a week.
Yeah.
Full pint.
I don't know.
Maybe like half a pint last night, if I'm being honest, if I'm being truthful.
I have to eat the whole thing in one
I
sitting.
know, no, same. I don't know
Like-
I don't know how you have the control to only eat half because every time I eat it and when I was going 49, I'd eat it. I'm like, I'm still hungry. I just put like calories in me. But
Well,
I would have it in my freezer before like we would go down to do the pre-meet. I'd like just like out that day and get it just to get me excited.
That's legit.
So like while you're getting like your post match like liquids and stuff like that, you'll get all right. I'm gonna get this for later.
Yup. Just to get me hyped for the food I eat after.
That's legit. I was a Panda Express sucker too. Like if I had to have like an actual meal, like I was like, oh, give me some Panda, some orange chicken, some chow mein. Like, and every time on the dot, like an hour after eating, I was sick to my stomach. Like it water, but I loved it. I was like, this is my favorite food.
I'm one of those guys where like I'll eat healthy throughout the week and like be very disciplined on like making weight. But what if I have a cheat meal, like I'm gonna try to find the worst food possible for my body.
I've been there.
Hey, since we're talking about food, okay, you live in Philly. I don't, again, you don't, I mean, there's a right answer to this, I'm sure. And then there's possibly like you could get in trouble too. But do you like Philly cheesesteaks for one?
I do, but I probably get some hate for it, but I think it's kind of overhyped.
Dude. Okay. So I have like the same thing. So California, you've been to California, right?
Once.
Okay. In-N-Out in California. Dude,
I think
Californians, you like it?
no, I thought it was overhyped.
Yes, dude. It's just like, it's no big deal. And I feel like I knew, like, asking you that, I'm like, dude, I feel like Philly cheesesteaks aren't that big of a deal. I'd rather just have steak, dude. I'd rather just have a sandwich. Like, why? You don't need to put it together.
Like I don't know. I've had it in Philly before, and then I'll go back home and have it, and I'm just like, I don't taste the difference. But I did think that about In-N-Out too, because we got there. One time at the U.S. Open, I got In-N-Out, and I was like, no, I'm glad I tried it, but like I don't know if it lived up to the hype.
The burger is good. In my opinion, the burger is good depending on how you get it. I get everything animal style. The fries are booty.
I don't like the fries either. I was like, they can do better.
The fries are like stale tasting to me. Like I don't like the fries, but the burger, I get it animal style. I have them add chilies. And
it's not bad for fast food. We can say that. It's not bad for fast food.
But if you're gonna have a fast food burger, where are you gonna go? Like what's your gourmet fast food burger? Jack in the Box? It's not bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know. I would rather just go to like a local place instead of like going to like a fast food place. If I need, if I would have had a fix, and I wanted to, if it was after a tournament or after, some kind of competition, I'd rather just go and just get a bite to eat somewhere, and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Not go and just buy a whatever burger.
Yeah, I'd rather get something pretty authentic.
I just saw a video of they were interviewing Josh Allen, the Bills quarterback, and he said he's a Big Mac fanatic. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, after games or after practices on his way home, he's like, I'll get a Big Mac. He doesn't care. I'm like, dang. So
yeah, but he doesn't have to watch his weight.
True, he doesn't have to watch his weight. You're a top tier quarterback. You got to stay in good shape.
Yeah, I would always think they have like some crazy regimen type diet.
Yeah.
We had
millions of dollars. So
we had a
McDonald's paid that much to wrestle.
we had a McDonald's on our campus, and like every one of our team, like they'd be open to like 2 to 3 a.m. and we go. That's insane. That took like a lot of our money, that's for sure.
Would they? I'm sure they would upcharge it too, right? Because it's on campus. Would it be more expensive?
I'm not very familiar with McDonald's prices, but when I went there, like compared to other places, I thought it was cheap. Like I'd get a burger with fries and a drink probably for like $10.
Was there anything about University of Penn's campus that maybe like caught you off guard that you didn't like realize about when you were getting recruited? Like, was there anything that's cool that maybe was unexpected that happened or was on campus?
When I was on campus, I didn't feel like I was in the city. Like I would be walking through campus and there'd be trees, there'd be grass, like not cars beeping all the time. Like it was pretty relaxing for the most part of when I was walking through campus to my class. So that really caught me off guard. And especially for my family, because they were like when I like show them around campus, like after the first year or second year, when like my extended family would come, they'd be like, wow, like I don't even feel like I'm in the city right now. So that's something I really liked about it.
What about I guess just like in general in terms of like being a student athlete? What's it like being a student athlete at Penn?
It's pretty time demanding. I made a lot of friends. I think within Penn, it's like a lot of all the athletes stick together. Not speaking for everyone, but a lot of the athletes stick together. In the sense of like socially come support each other in that sense. I think wrestling at Penn, it's like pretty awesome in my perspective. It's you get great academics with a great program and a great regional training center where you have like Jordan Burroughs in your room all the time. So I feel like you're getting the best of both worlds as well. Like you're getting a high level education and you're getting high level wrestling.
Yeah, let's talk about the Pennsylvania Regional Training Center. That's pretty rad that you guys, were able to have that there and get to do a lot of freestyle, I'm assuming, in the off season. Talk about how it was training with those guys and what you liked, because a lot of guys in college didn't have opportunities to train at a RTC like that. So that's a totally different experience.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I came into college pretty behind the ball technique wise. I went to a public school. I decently good in high school, but not a huge name in high school. So when I got to college, I had the RTC where I would be training with Joey McKenna day in and day out. So I was very, very fortunate to get my hands on these guys, and I feel like I grew exponentially, like very quickly. And I give a lot of credit to the RTC and like just and not even wrestling wise, but they're just good people too.
Mm-hmm. Are you still training there?
Yeah, I'm still with the Pennsylvania Regional Training Center now.
You have U23s coming up, right?
So it's unfortunate circumstance where Sasso made national team, so he had the spot over me, but I'm sure as you saw, he got shot.
Yeah.
So
I just assumed you were gonna do it, but I mean I don't know if he's gonna be healthy or not.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of still waiting. But fortunately he's okay. So we're all still kind of waiting to see if he is gonna be ready or not. But I mean, I would expect to be I'm training as if I'm gonna be wrestling in U23.
Right. You have to train as if you're ready.
Yeah.
That's legit. And when is that?
That is end of October. So you have a good amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's it at this year?
It was originally in Finland, but I think something with Russia, they're trying to let Russia in. So they're between like three locations of like Egypt, Albania, and North Macedonia. So it's nothing set in stone yet.
Yeah, I just whenever I think about that region, I think of Taken. So
that's not
be on your guard, man.
That's not good. I know. I haven't been to any of those areas yet. So it'd be cool to see another country, but sometimes not.
Who else from the RTC is going with you?
So I'm a pretty young. I just graduated college, but I'm very young. Like all the RTC guys are like 26, 27, and I'm 20. I'm still 22. So we're trying to figure out like if who's gonna go out and coach me, but none of the other RTC guys could have wrestled in U23s because they're eligible.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of really good guys in that RTC group, man.
Yeah.
Like I mean Burroughs, McFadden. I think Hall he's still competing.
Yep.
Because I know he's on the staff. So you got Hall, you have McKenna. I mean, obviously yourself too. But was that something? Because I'm not gonna lie, I can be a little bit of a fanboy, But was that something that when you were thinking about okay wrestling now at this RTC, was that something that you were a little bit shy, like just being around these big names, or was it something that you kind of adjusted to pretty quickly?
I always had the envision of, I'm very good. I think I would say I'm much better at freestyle than folk style. So I wanted to wrestle a couple more years after I graduated, and it just made so much sense to stay with the PRTC since they basically molded me into the wrestler I am today. But once after NCAAs, my senior year, I never was an All-American, so that really threw me off of like man, how can I wrestle at the next level if I didn't even become an All-American? So that was really mentally tough to where like, you have this RTC where Jordan Burroughs was an NCAA champ, all these guys, at least the lowest accomplishment was an All-American. And I'm like, I don't even have that. So that's something just mentally I needed to adjust to where kind of getting over that hurdle of, I didn't accomplish exactly what I wanted to accomplish in college, but that doesn't mean I still can't become great on the senior level. So that was definitely intimidating for me and tough to swallow.
Yeah, I think people sometimes get lost in the accolades that they forget, like, well, what's the most important thing? It's obviously, yeah, you want to be able to accomplish your goals, but it just sounds like, I think from, the life lessons as well as like the skill that you've developed. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be reflected in maybe the outcome, right? But, you're still a hard worker. You're still a good wrestler. You didn't get what you wanted on that day, but dude, you could still go win a world title. I mean, Jamil Kelly, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
ever an All-American, got silver medal in the Olympics. Like, that's pretty sweet, dude. That could be you 100%. Maybe gold would be better, but
Yeah. I going into NCAAs my senior year, I put a lot of worth in an accolade. I put a lot of the way I viewed myself based off of how I would perform, and when I didn't get what I wanted at NCAAs and I didn't become an All-American, I viewed myself differently. And I really had to take a step back to really see like a different perspective in wrestling and not letting my worth or my my view of myself be going off of how I perform at a tournament. So I had to do a lot of rethinking after my senior year of just mentally, like I can't put so much stock into a tournament, like where how I'm gonna let this tournament define who I am. So what you kind of based off what you were saying, that just there's so much more you gain from wrestling than just being on a podium or that trophy you're holding.
yeah, and I think it's like, it's easy to get lost in that. And
It's a constant reminder.
yeah, Sean and I are we're coaching high schoolers now, and that's something that this, especially towards the end of this last year, like we had a guy win a second state title, and there were some other matches where we had guys that thought could get close to being on the podium as well. And I got a little bit caught up in some big moments where I was right, but I had to maybe did some things that probably weren't good, just with other coaches on the staff. And thankfully I got some good mentors that kind of checked me a little bit. But
Yeah.
would you say, like, who are generally kind of your mentors, or the people that you look up to just around your program right now that you're in?
I would say Joey McKenna's always been there for me. He's always just been a guy in my corner helping me with technique a lot of times. Roger Reyna's been our head coach. He's been a great guy. He's recruited
He's
me.
the GOAT.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. He's really just helped me. More importantly, he's helped me grow as a person. And he's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom that has helped me get to where I am today. Coach Slay has really helped me with growing in wrestling and off the mat as well. So I could probably go on and on about how certain people have affected my life throughout Penn, and it's really an amazing ecosystem. But those three guys stick out to me.
Now
You
you
see
mentioned
yourself. Go ahead, Sean.
you sure?
No, you go.
All right. You did this with Brady last week.
I would like to add one thing that you said about like checking yourself is where like it's so easy to fall down that hole again of where you put your worth into an accolade and you make it your everything. So that's just, I would say that the past two tournaments where I after NCAAs I didn't do the US Open, I wrestled U23s and I went internationally and I won both of the tournaments. It's been so much more freeing and so much more fun when you don't when you don't let when you don't make it bigger than what it is.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
that's awesome.
a huge piece of what I try to give back to the college wrestlers in any way of just like we like to say when it's your everything, it becomes nothing.
Well,
So
do you see yourself possibly being a coach down the line?
I mean, I'm gonna this year I'm gonna be coaching gap year guys, the guys that are unenrolled from school, basically taking a year off and it's kind of like the red shirt in the Ivy League. So I'm gonna have some little coach experience this year. I might do college wrestling coaching, but I think at some point I'll get away from wrestling a little bit and use my degree in a sense. But I would like to. I'm interested in coaching a little bit. I have a lot of fun doing it.
What did you
I
major
think you'd be a good coach, man.
Yeah, thank you. I majored in basically econ. I did like the econ straight up at Penn was very rigorous.
Yeah.
Did basically a combined major of primarily econ.
Okay.
Is it macro or micro?
I did both. I did macro and micro. It was so tough.
So what do you
And
plan to do with that kind of degree?
I think, well, I don't know if I'll use that degree, but one of my really good friends is in law school. He just went to law school this year. So
Yeah.
that's something that has really caught my attention to a possible thing I might do in the future once I'm done wrestling.
I like it. Yeah. And then maybe you can get back into coaching high schoolers like me and Brian.
I would love to do that.
Just
I
come
would-
out to California. Come out
I mean,
to beautiful
yeah,
Bakersfield. We have a beach close to us.
Come to San Diego. You don't want to go to Bakersfield.
A couple of my friends moved to California and they say they love it. So
It's not bad. It's got, there's certain areas that I would avoid, but it's not bad.
just like
But
everywhere.
yeah. So let's talk high school real quick. You were a state champ. What is it? AAA, or how do you guys split? 3A, or I don't know how you get. I don't know how you East Coasters.
Well, 3A is the hardest, right? 3A is the big
I
schools.
like to say AAA was the hardest. Yes, for sure. AA is
Okay.
like most schools.
Okay, so this brings us to the age-old debate. Do you
Okay.
think a single state tournament would have been tougher, like the California style, or do you think the multiple state tournaments is better?
I would love to have one.
One?
I think it would attract more people, and you just have like you're the actual state champ.
Yeah.
Like there's not 5 different state champs.
Right.
I would
That's the
love
only thing we know, because that's what we have in California. But there's a lot of debate right now within the state to try and split it and tear it off.
Why?
Well,
What's
there's
the-
an equity question, right? It's like, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree with this one way or the other. Obviously, as a competitor, dude, let's go one, because we want to be the state champ,
Yeah.
But if coming from a school like that, probably would have been, Division 4, or I don't know what you would call that, single A or whatever out there. It's the small school, dude. I had 6 kids on my high school team, man. We're going up against Buchanan and Clovis and all these bigger high schools, and I mean, I don't know. I just think I wasn't really getting recruited super heavily as a kid coming from that area, like that kind of background. Dude, if there was a Division 4 state championship, yeah, I probably would have been, closer to the top of the podium. But I think I can kind of see it both ways. I'm not for splitting it up, but I don't know. I think those states that have it split, I think there's enough people, I think, on the collegiate level that know good wrestling, and they know it when they see it. They're going to recruit those guys anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now,
I guess
especially with Flow too, and like the broad scheme of broadcasting wrestling, it's a lot easier to find good wrestling than it probably was back when we were in high school.
I think the competitor of me is just like, I want to be the state champ. I don't want to be the state champ with 4 others in my state.
Yeah. So the big argument, especially with us in California right now, is that it would be more inclusive for wrestling. So if we split it up, you get more state qualifiers, you get more state medalists, you get more kids seeing those accolades in the high school level. Schools get to bolster their athletes more, and that brings more kids out to the wrestling meets, that brings more kids out to the wrestling room. So it just is honestly, it would grow wrestling. There's no doubt it would grow wrestling in California. But then it just takes away from the authenticity of being a state champ. And all the guys before that who, like Brian said, he's got a 2-time state champ on his roster going for his 3rd this year. He would tell anyone after him who won it, if it was a split division, that they're not a true state champ. He'd be like, I'm a true state champ.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
I'd be fine if they did that, if they split it, but they have to go back and they have to give me a state medal.
Me too.
Hey, you were the highest finisher for Division 4, so
Yeah.
we're gonna give you a state title.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what if they did like where they have divisions and then the state champs wrestle each other? Then
I
they
would
get
love that. I would love that. But then, like, I've always said that too, because I was always like, why don't all the Pennsylvania state champs just get together and squash it? But some kids win it and they know they're not at the other level of the other guys. So they're like, no, I don't want to go and do
But
that.
I mean, you guys get chances to wrestle each other. Like there's Powerade beats the East. Like Walsh Ironman, like Ohio's not that far away. Like you get like when you won state, did you get a chance to wrestle those other state champs?
So I guess in my in my junior year, it was a good thing they had the division because I lost to I forget his name, but I lost to him 2 weeks after 2 weeks, the AA champ. I forget. He went to Harvard. I forget his name. But yeah, I lost to the AA champ in my weight. So I guess I'm not really the true state champ in this instance.
Interesting.
I would have loved to tell you that I beat him 2 weeks after, but I couldn't lie.
What tournament was it?
It was Flow Nationals back in the day.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one back then.
It was fun. Like one way in, like a 5 weight allowance, one way in.
Yeah.
College rules too, right?
College
rules?
Yes, that was so fun.
Yeah. So I've got a couple kids wrestling in Elite 8 duels coming up, and that'll be a pretty big event on Flow, and they're bringing college rules for it. So it's been fun, like doing.
So is it a 3-point takedown?
3-point takedown. We've been doing some riding time stuff in the room and like working the edge of the mat and some other stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, this is the best. This is the best right here. I love it.
Man, those high school rules. Oh, I would be losing my mind.
Oh yeah,
they're out of bounds. Like I wish they did something with the out of bounds.
It doesn't make any sense. It's so inconsistent from ref to ref. Like some refs are like motions going out of bounds. They call it. Some people let them wrestle on the edge. It should just. I
was watching some high school matches and I was like, oh my god, this kid just like his part of his shoe stepped out and they blow it dead. I'm like, yeah, man, this is tough.
It's unreal.
I mean, but that's reffing in general. Like it's always going to be slightly inconsistent. Like in the best refs, they're not going to stay in high school. They're probably going to move on to college,
Right. But if you make the rules, I think more defined, like the college rule, it's a cylinder. You exit the cylinder, you're done wrestling.
There's not, but that's more expensive. You have to get bigger
mats. You need more mat space, and like we're trying to crush 6 mats into a tiny gym.
Yeah, Doug's like, this makes sense economically.
We want to finish our tournament by 4 o'clock so we can all go home.
Good perspectives.
No, it is. I mean, it totally is. But
what if they just did a step out rule? What would you think about that?
Are you one of those guys that likes the freestyle? Like, let's get a folk style.
He's an RTC guy, of course he is.
Knowing that I'm better at freestyle, I would have loved a step out. Like a push out would have benefited me so much in folk style.
I get that.
Out of bounds.
I'm like this with it.
Yeah. I don't want it, man. I don't want it. I'm against it 100%. I don't like these new rules either. Doug, do you like these new rules? 3-point takedown? Doesn't this look weird for a takedown?
It'll make getting like a major easier, getting a tech, but like I think in the biggest matches, it's not going to really play a difference. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
You
get a takedown.
I know the near fall is going to be so controversial. Of like 2 swipes is 2, 3 swipes is 3.
Yeah,
swipes is 4. Like that's going to be just a headache.
Well, and those refs that half swipe, and you're like, was that a full swipe? What was that?
They also changed like riding time. Like if you don't turn a guy, there's no riding time, right?
Yeah.
Did that pass?
That passed. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with that, I guess. But I just feel like they're doing all this because they're trying to increase viewership and they're trying to encourage scoring. I just don't think all these rule changes, I don't think that's going to have this outcome that they want.
No, I agree. But I do think a step out rule would be good. I would be for that.
I'm not totally against a step out. My only thing about wrestling on the edge, especially when you're in on a leg and you're scrambling and you're one guy's fighting to stay in, one guy's like, you're playing that game, right? You can't completely, go out of bounds.
You hit it with the
hold on. You can't completely go out of bounds on defense. but you're still playing the edge a little bit. You're giving them that hard shin whizzer, hoping that they, come out of bounds with you. I love those battles, those interchangeable like edge wrestling, battles. Those are fun for me to watch, like especially at the national tournament.
Yeah, I would agree.
You miss out on those with the step out,
But
but
you love seeing like where a guy gets to a single leg on the edge and like he's just finishing that single and finishes it with like a toe in bounds.
yeah, it's like like getting the
I'll miss seeing that
steps.
for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
But
I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
It would have been nice to like a lot of guys, they'll like kind of play the edge a little bit, and then they know the rule, like if they get pushed out, it's going to be stalling. So they'll get their butts to the edge, and then as the guy's pressuring, like they'll just change their direction a little bit, and then they'll shoot them out. And like a lot of times I would have got called for stalling where like I've just been like getting the guy's butts to the edge, and then this last second he changes direction and then does a half shot to shoot me out, and I get called for stalling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was frustrating to me.
Yeah, that is tough.
Yeah, I think more consistency with calls too, I think would go a longer ways. But it's hard when you keep like changing the rules like every few years. Like the hands to the face call, it's like it's supposed to be what initially it was like potentially dangerous or something. And refs weren't calling it. They're like, all right, well, now if you do the triangle and you hit somebody in the triangle, it's just a point. It's like, why does it have to get to that point? Why can't we just make more consistent calls? I don't know.
I agree.
You're not ever going to want to be a ref, would you?
No.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I think I wouldn't do a bad job. I would obviously screw up at times, but I couldn't take the arguing and like people being disrespectful, and I've done it to refs too. So I just couldn't do it. I'd get heated. I'd want to fight people.
Especially like at the college level, like there's higher stakes, but like in those high school and even youth tournaments, more importantly, like parents will be going crazy at you.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
I'm sure you've repped local youth tournaments before, right?
I've never done
really?
It.
What?
We used to do that all the time.
That was how we made money in college.
I was gonna say
you're crushing dreams.
Yeah, no, I've never done that. I wish I did that.
You probably still could.
You could probably bring in some like decent money for a weekend for a college.
Yeah, I mean, you could, dude. Imagine this. Like, you're 6 or 7 years old. You're a fan of Penn because your dad or whoever takes you there. You show up to go wrestle, right? And then like, who's your ref? Doug Zapf. It's like, wow, let's get a picture. Then you bring some shirts, right? You give out a couple for free. Now they're fans for life.
Facts.
There you go, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You got me thinking now.
Yeah, Brian and I would get like what they were like Saturday or Sunday, like youth.
Yeah, it would be like, Sundays in the spring, and I took it, a little more serious than I think other people did. But
no, he really did. Like
I was like, dude, well, these idiots would have the red armband on the right hand, and I'm like, no, it's supposed to go on the other side. And you're like, well, right is red.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they always had the red on the one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah, you know. Well,
Brian would make sure that the ankle, like if the guy was wearing red ankle band, that he was on the red line with the red wristband, like right there, and green was with green line and green wristband right here. Like he was very like tucked in, like running shoes in case he had to, make a quick move to get to a call. He took it.
That is true. I would
that ref that was sliding all over the mat.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me somewhere, like some kid getting pinned, and I'm just like right there, like getting down, Everybody's like crying the Dream Crusher.
Oh man. I
think one of the toughest things, I would be so contradicted as a ref, like it's like a state final match, this kid's up like 8-0 and then gets caught in like a stupid move and he's flat. When he's clear better wrestler, but he's pinned.
Yeah.
I would feel so bad.
You would call it though, right?
I would have to call it, but I would be like, oh, I would probably give him a second or two to get off his back. But I would have to call the pin, but I would just be so contradicted.
I mean, if it's legit, like I reach back, grab your head while you have legs in, and I'm freaking holding you there, like I'll call that all day. But like, so I got pinned. My only pin that I got pinned in college was on a leg pass. And I must have been on my back for like not even a millisecond, like literally a constant motion of like doing the leg pass, and that ref just freaking crushed it. And I was like, I just looked up like, no way, like you gotta be kidding me. And I was like, all right, like that's cool. That was
There was
tough.
one time in my state quarterfinal match, I got very fortunate. I was doing a leg pass like that, and man, my shoulders were flat, and it didn't get called. It was like
Well, you don't want to be that guy that makes that call, if it's like a big match, because that's always like either way, right? Like if you don't make that call and it's quick, then it's like, that was probably, whatever. But if you do make that call, dude, people get pissed, right? People get fired up.
You gotta own it.
Yeah, you do have to own it.
But as a coach now in high school, like I've gotten to know the referees, a little bit more. The San Diego referees, I wouldn't say are like the best in the state, but there's a couple really good ones. And I've gotten to talk to them after, going and getting dinner after a tournament or whatnot. And just hearing them out, like, I'm like, you knew that call was wrong, or like you knew like what I was talking about. And they're just like, like you got to see my point of view, right? And like where I was or what I saw, and this is what I saw. So sometimes it is a matter of perspective, really. And everything, wrestling's a fast sport. Everything's happening so fast. So, it is, there's human error, just like with baseball trying to take umpires out of it, it's just it's what's going to happen, and we just got to suck it up. I always try and tell my high schoolers, like, don't let the ref decide who wins this match. You have to be decisive. You have to go out there and score enough points that no matter what this referee does or tries to do, you can't lose. It's impossible. And so some of them take that, to heart, and some of them don't.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, you have to.
Points.
Doug, when you came in as a freshman, I know you talked about like you said the skill kind of wasn't quite there yet. Talk about a little bit that transition from high school wrestling to college wrestling, because it's always a big jump, right? Especially the bottom and hand fighting. Like, how'd you kind of deal with those challenges?
Yeah, I think different from like most colleges. Like when I came out of high school to Penn, like my freshman year, we had eight freshmen in the lineup at one point. Like we were a very young team. Like we weren't a high level program. Like there's no way I should have been like one of the top guys in that room at that time. But that's just kind of the way the program was at that point. But like as I went to like higher level camps and started developing a better room, like hand fighting is so important. When high school kids, high level high school kids, state champs come into our room, and like you can just feel it that they're not comfortable with hand fighting. They kind of take some dive bomb shots from the outside, hope to get on a leg and pull it in. Like I would say hand fighting is probably the biggest thing I had to develop throughout my time, and bottom wrestling, because you can definitely tell like when a high schooler gets in the room, it's so much easier to ride them in folk style.
Yeah, dude, they give up wrists like they're giving out free candy.
Oh my God, getting to a wrist is so easy. It's great.
Brian, I think we should so the last episode of Simple Man, I wasn't on it, but they talked about a potential trip. I think we should run this potential trip by Doug and see what he thinks. You know what I'm talking about, Brian?
Oh, so okay, so Sean and I were both getting married. Is this what you're talking about, Sean?
We're not getting married to each other, though.
we do live in California, but that came out great. It's okay. I think Doug's an ally, so I think I saw a triangle somewhere where you're at right now.
Let me hear.
We both got engaged within the last me a couple weeks, him a couple months. And we're thinking Brian and I have never been to the national tournament. We've never been to NCAAs.
What?
Do we make a joint?
Yeah, we weren't that good in college.
Yeah, we suck.
Neither of us qualified.
You never go to watch it?
We've never been to watch it. We've watched it online.
It's expensive, bro.
We have a fantasy group chat. Like Brian and I have a fantasy group chat of 10 dudes. We draft a snake draft.
That's
Doug, you
fun.
got drafted in it. I could go back and pull up the Google Doc sheet of who took you. I don't know whose team you're on.
You were actually on my list, Doug,
I let
and
some. I'm glad
I
you didn't
was.
pick me. I let someone down on that.
When someone drafted you, I was like, sneaky pick. I like it. I like it.
'Cause I think,
uh,
yeah. Go
I'll
ahead,
have to
Sean.
go back and find it. But no, yeah, we've never been, and we're thinking maybe we do a group trip, me, Brian, and a bunch of our wrestling buddies, and we mob out there. It's in Kansas City this year, so that would be so sweet, and we've never been. So it's like, do we do this? It's not a cheap trip, but it'd be worth it.
you have to. Yeah. I think NCAAs is that atmosphere is sick. Like before the quarters, they'll turn out all the lights. They'll have like a spotlight going around. I think they do it really well. My favorite round, probably the semifinals round. I think the finals are kind of like the most boring round, but throughout those entire like that first day, just upsets on upsets, the crowd going crazy. Like you'll have like two returning All-Americans going in the first round. Like, and then each, like, this is just 8 mats of like pure chaos going on. Like, one match, someone's getting thrown to their back. Another match is a huge reversal. Like, I don't think there's anything like it. I think like the NCAA tournament has to be one of the toughest tournaments.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Is it hard to separate? Like, obviously, you're there to compete,
yes,
but
yeah.
then also you're a fan too. So it's like, how do you kind of separate those two things?
It's
Like, where you're
tough.
watching those big matches, but you're also trying to stay focused on yourself.
I know it's tough because like even not even like in the moment, but leading up to the tournament, like it's so like it's so easy to fall down to like looking at reviews and kind of just like reading about different weight classes, my weight classes. Like everyone will have a different prediction, different preview of what they think for the weight class, and like they do the NCAA bracket revealing. So like just leading up to it is tough to where like you got to step away from social media, from all like the hype around it, and just going back to what like I said previously, like control what I control, like making sure my mind's in the right place and being prepared, my body's in the right place, like feeling good. And then like in the tournament, like I can't go on social media during NCAs. Like
No.
Yeah.
my feed will just be like upset on upset or upset. I'll like then I'll like if I see the like an upset, like I'll want to look into the match. So
Right. Naturally, you can't help it.
yeah. So yeah, you got to stay away from your phone and try to like, especially when you're walking out there to the NCAs, like to your mat. Like I I I don't want to do like a huge like look around the stadium and see like 20,000 fans and seeing like a crazy match going on. Like I'm just trying to be dialed in on like the mat I'm going to and not looking around and getting caught up in a match or the fans.
Are you going like headphones and stuff? You listen to music?
In my college years I listened to music a lot of times to kind of block out this stadium a little bit.
No, for
What?
sure.
So why do you say your college years? Do you not do that
I don't
anymore?
know now, like I've just been in a phase of not listening to music before, like as I'm warming up, I just haven't been listening to music and I've been performing well. So
Do
I'm
you
just
think?
going with it.
Yeah. Do you think it's because maybe your perspective has changed a little bit? Like,
I think
there's no
so.
reason to get in your head. Just go enjoy it. Go be free. Go have fun.
Yeah, for me, like I'm now like as you said, it's a constant reminder, but I'm very pretty relaxed, like going into a match. Like obviously you have that pre-match warm up, but like I'm pretty relaxed, not like putting a lot of stock into the match where I'm just kind of like, let's just see what happens and what can control in this match, what have I been focused on in practice and how can I implement and make an improvement from my previous match or previous tournament. So uh adapting that really good mindset to where what happens and as long as I prepared to my best ability and controlled what I can control, like this match isn't going to make or break me here. Like I'm just having fun, especially
Right.
now. Like I'm done with college. um I'm still wrestling, and but like I don't have to wrestle. No one's forcing me to do this. I want to do it. So like if I'm gonna do this, like I want to be having fun doing it. Like I want to enjoy this process and enjoy competing. So having a lot of pressure on yourself and making tournaments like break you or like letting it define you, like that's not fun. So I wouldn't do it if it's still that for me. So
You
you know
kind of touched on it a little bit, but what was it like, not just at the NCAA tournament, but throughout the season with Flow and some of the other, Intermat, some of the other, social media platforms that cover wrestling, with rankings coming out and highlight clips, and they hype up dual meets or hype up individual matches. I mean, do you look at rankings? Did you not look at rankings? Did you just ignore those, articles and stuff, or do you just buy into it a little bit? Like, what was your output?
I didn't really have the mindset of like, all right, this guy's ranked here, he should be beating me. It was more like, I want to be ranked at this spot because I know when the NCAA tournament comes around, it'll give me the better draw.
Mhm.
So like I knew like earlier in my season, like I had Caleb Henson, Parco from Arizona State. I knew my match with Max Murin against Iowa that I lost in overtime. Like I knew those matches were going to be big based off rankings because if you solidify yourself early in the season, especially in the Ivy Leagues, like our season kind of dwindles down a little bit where I have a lot of like less. I don't really have ranked guys at my tail end of my season, so establishing myself early in that sense of just like knowing where, okay, if I beat Max Murin, I'll probably be top 7, so that that will probably I'll be slated pretty good for NCAs to where like I don't see like a huge name until the quarters.
Mhm.
So in that aspect, I followed it. I didn't like doubt myself because I was ranked at this spot and this person was ranked there. I was just kind of thinking about the NCAA tournament. But at the end of the day, literally anything happens at the NCAA tournament. Spencer
True.
Lee.
Yeah.
True. I
Doug,
think a lot of kids in high school kind of obsess over like state rankings a little bit.
Yeah.
And we do it like
Sean was one of those kids that would do that.
that is, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But like as a coaching staff, we like to, when our state rankings come out or they update and we got guys that are, in the top, whatever, we'll post it on Instagram because that's cool. It's like publicity, it's hyping the kid up, all that stuff. But at the same time, like in the room, I'm telling them, don't let this get to your head. Like you can't. You got to stay focused on the task at hand, do what we need to be doing, control the controllables. But I definitely think a lot of kids chase rankings, or like they fear rankings too. They're like, oh crap, I got a top 10 kid in the state. And I'm like, bro,
They'll wrestle differently before the match even started.
right. And I'm like, God, you can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. You can beat this guy or girl, whatever they, so it's
Well,
just,
don't make rankings a big deal then, man.
I'm trying to
You posted on your
hype,
social media. You
trying to
just
hype the
said.
kids up, trying to bolster my followers on the Granite Hills wrestling page,
I know it's tough because like that's how you get kind of clout.
You look at all the top
Expectations
college
of the
teams. I
program.
mean, I'm sure Penn has a Twitter account, or
Yeah,
I
they're
like
posting the
following.
rankings every week.
Right. And they're freaking posting clips and highlights and rankings and updates and boom. Like they just push it out there. And I like following NC State's media team. They're pretty
Really,
good.
they're
Yeah, they're
really
really good at doing clips and highlight videos, and they're always posting stuff. And so, I try to copy it obviously a little bit. And one of my coaches, Coach Justin's really good at the video clips and artwork and stuff. So we try to make it fun for them, but at the same time, not let them obsess over it.
Yeah, especially in high school, you'll see that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
In college, it's kind of like you gotta kind of go through it firsthand of kind of seeing you like, man, rankings don't really matter. I just saw this guy beat this guy and it wasn't even close, and he's not even close to that guy in rankings. So it's kind of I had to learn that sometimes the tough way, because in my high school I was kind of similar. Where I would obsess over national rankings and where
Yeah.
this guy was. So
I mean, it's kind of, a younger wrestler thing, right? It's because, like, maybe if
yeah,
you're not quite the guy yet, it's like, but you want to be. And it's like, all right, well, what's happening? What are they saying about me?
yeah,
And I think, just takes time. And I think being around like older people too. Um, so I know we're kind of getting close to an hour. I know your bedtime's coming up, but I kind of have a couple more questions. So kind of like what you said, I think initially when you were making that college transition, you said McKenna as well as a few others had a pretty big impact on you. So now you're an RTC guy. And I don't want to get you in. I don't know if it's a compliance issue. I'm not super familiar with that, but are there any maybe young guys that you've maybe taken under your wing a little bit that are coming in?
um, yeah. I told you I'm the coach in the gap year guys, and I always try to put myself in their shoes and what I really valued as an athlete at Penn, and like how I wanted a coach to be with me. So I think the first thing is like developing a relationship with the kid that's more just an outside of wrestling and more than just like showing them how to hit a side step single or something like that. So I think what I'm trying to do is try to develop good, strong relationships with guys and trying to just, get to know them more and create that trust. And I'm excited. I have a couple incoming gap year guys. One's name's Evan Mugallian. He's pretty tough. He won states in New Jersey. He beat Julian Klebo last year, so he's a pretty tough kid. He just finished his freshman year. He's taking a gap year net this year. Another kid is Cross Wazalewski.
I like that kid. I
He
like
got
that kid a lot.
Margo. He's really tough, and
Yeah.
he has a lot of similar styles as me. He has a lot of the similar shots as me. So I'm excited to coach those two guys. But I think what I'm trying to do, having a little coaching role is, getting into coaching is trying to just like develop a strong relationship with guys. It's a little different now because these guys were my boys like a year ago. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like so a lot of my best friends are still in college, but for the incoming freshmen specifically of trying to develop a strong relationship with them.
I like it. What kind of games do you guys play in the Penn room? Because we love games.
Your room's weird too. Like you guys have pillars like right in the middle of the room for what, right?
Yeah. We're a big partner dodgeball team.
Yeah.
2-man?
2-man.
Yeah, we do 2-man too. We just started that. Dom Demas actually is the one who taught us it. And
Really?
we brought it down and we can't stop playing. We'll get 3 games into the beginning of practice, and I'm like, I'll play this for another hour.
I
don't
know.
care.
It's like I don't want to start practice.
Yeah,
We
screw
could play
wrestling.
all day, dude.
Yeah.
We'd be having we would have lift sometimes at like 4, and we would come in at like 3:15 just to play for 45 minutes.
Yeah, just for fun. It's a great
Yeah,
warm.
that game is so fun.
Yeah. Who's your normal partner? Like, who do you go for?
See, I played a lot, but I've kind of died down. But when I was like in my prime, I would play with Lucas Ravano, if you're
Okay.
familiar. And we would be pretty good. But I'm also not the best dodgeball player, but we would have like rankings. My junior year is actually serious to where like we would have a lot of cheating, and we like literally typed up the rules and taped them in the room because like there's no cheating anymore. So like we had rankings. We were gonna do a tournament, but never followed through with it. But it was so intense.
Okay, so this is the problem we have with 2-man is the kids make alliances with other
Oh
teams.
my god,
And
that
that's
was
what's
one of our
worse.
rules.
You can't do that.
No,
Have an
that
alliance.
ruins the game.
Yeah, it ruins it because there's like 7 or 8 of them. Well, it would have to be an even number. So there's like 8 or 10 of them that are like allianced up, and they're running around just mobbing through the whole group until it's those 8, and then it's like a real game. And I'm like, you guys, you can't have an alliance. Like,
Well, you got to break up those monopolies, right? You got to break up those trusts, right, Doug? Like, economically.
Yeah, I would say Mark Hall is the king of that. He will always don't get me, and then when he has the ball, he won't get them because he'll like remember that, and then or if he has the ball and he doesn't hit the one guy, the other guy, then like later in the game, that guy will let him go, and it's just they'll form teams, and it's just like this is ruining the integrity of the game, guys.
I'm gonna clip this and show my kids tomorrow and be like, see, you guys can't be doing this. This is BS.
I hated it. It was awful.
I mean,
There's
it's
so many
natural
times
though.
where like it would clearly hit someone, and they would look around to see if it didn't hit, if anyone saw it, and then they would keep running. Like we saw it hits you.
We do a good job of calling people out. Like if I see you get hit,
Yeah.
you're done. You're on your knees, like you're out.
Well, so the thing, so we do more. We just do free for all. So no partners. It's like the same thing. It's almost the same rule set, but you're just by yourself. But it's the same thing that happens.
So
The
no one's
way
ever officially out.
No, so like if you're out, you sit, like you're out, like you're done.
Oh,
There's no revival.
There's no revival. But what the issue is people will walk the ball. Like we play the rule, like if you have the ball, you can't move. And then kids will start kind of like rolling it, or like they'll kind of pass it to the kids that are out there, their buddies. And it's kind of like what you said. Like sometimes the game just kind of takes on a whole thing of its own. Like people cheat, or like like somebody that's out will start like kind of siding with somebody, and it's like,
Yep.
dude, stop. And that's why as a coach, like I have to take myself out of it because I get too into it. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not gonna say this on camera, but let's say, there might have been instances where me and another kid were both going for a ball at the same time, and he was a little bit smaller than me, and I grabbed him by his ankle and just pulled him up like this. And after I'm like, oh, dude, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. And he's like, you're good. My head hurts now.
Oh my God, there's been so many times where we had like a kid just get a lingering injury from dodgeball.
Oh
Because
yeah.
he slid for the ball, someone collided, and our coach is just like losing his mind because he's just like, this is why we don't want to play the game.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be no contact, like we're not supposed to be hitting each other, but
you're not supposed to.
we're wrestlers.
Yeah, you get
Can't
too
help it. One of my favorites that we were doing, especially during the freestyle season, because it's perfect for this, is like sharks and minnows. Like we start in the middle of the mat, like us three, and they have to get past us to the other side. But to get them out to make them into a shark, you have to leg lace them or gut them. So that was really fun. So they have to stay on their knees too. So we all have to stay on our knees. So they have to basically bear crawl past us. But if Brian tackles one, then I jump on his legs and like lock up a lace and roll him through, then he's a shark with us on the next round.
That's a great idea.
That one's a really fun game. I tell people about it. I'm like, you guys should play this. But for folk style, it's not as fun because it's just
you can't lock your hands in folk style.
Right. So but you could be like, well, I could get a tilt or something, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's much harder.
Yeah, but it's fun. That's a fun
one. A good game.
Yeah, one of my kids was like, he had a really good front head pinch, like side tilt, and he would just get a kid to front head and he would just take him over and turn him like that. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, he was bored with that game.
Yeah, that was a good one. But I don't think we never did stuff like that in college. I guess it's more a high school level.
We played speedball, but then we had to stop doing that because, well, it would just turn into wrestling and people would just tackle each other. And I think somebody got like hurt bad, like they got a concussion or something. And then after that, it was like, nope, no more.
Yeah.
Spike ball was popular too. I feel like with our
Spike ball was very popular when I got into college. Then it's just like we found a game where everyone was involved.
Right. Yeah, it's not as fun because only 4 people are playing, and that's not inclusive. But yeah, it was a popular game for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Doug.
Got any last final remarks?
We've been going for a while now, dude. It felt like this went by pretty quick. I'm really glad you came on.
No, it was fun talking with you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, well, I don't know if I'm gonna say it. It's like, well, if Sammy Sasso, if he can't go, like I don't want to say I hope things work out. I'll just say this. I hope things work out for the best. But yeah, dude, I'm really excited just that you're competing still and that you're getting after it. In the future, man, if you ever want to come on, dude, we're always down.
Oh yeah. I had a great time.
Yeah, and then shoot us a link for the t-shirts. We'll throw it up on the Instagram too. And I'm down.
It's just in your bio, right?
Yeah, I can DM you it.
Perfect. Cool. Perfect. I need a Penn Doug Zapf shirt. I don't have any Ivy League gear.
Perfect.
Sweet.
All right, Doug. Thanks, man.
I appreciate you guys having me. Have a good rest of your day.